Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Anybody going to talk to me tonight? Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about what are our emotions teaching us about ourselves. Just throwing that out there, even though I don't think there's anybody on. But I have to say it so the people who are getting on YouTube are like not watching excruciating 6 minutes without me telling. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Sorry, I'm trying to read. My eyes are just not focusing today, and I was cleaning my glasses. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. Sorry, let me move my cord. I got my phone plugged in, so every time I touch the cord, it's shaking it. Hello, hello. Say hi. Say hi if you're here. Sorry, every time I get on live, my nose itches or something. Hello, hello. Ellen from Tampa. How are you, Ellen? Thank you for hopping on. Tell me who you are, where you're from. Hi. How are you? Doing well. Good. Is it Bella? Refresh my memory, hon. I forget. Is it Bella, right? If you're just hopping on with me, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Is that Miss Veronica I see up there? Hello, hello. Nobody wants to talk to me tonight? Oh, my lips are so dry, and I misplaced my chapstick. Don't know where it went. It must have rolled under the bed, I'm thinking. Hello. So tonight we're going to talk about what are our emotions telling us about ourselves. It's a little bit off of what my guide said we were going to talk about tonight, but it kind of leaded into that. Hello. If you're just popping in, talk to me, tell me who you are, where are you from. I'm Renee. I'm temporarily in Iowa. I don't want to say I'm from here because, I am originally from here, but I don't plan to stay here. I always say I'm from South Dakota because I lived most of my life in South Dakota. So thank you for the likes. I'm not sure who sent them. I missed that. But I do appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you could just tap on that screen, those likes really do help. I appreciate it very, very much. So I was running a few minutes late. Sorry. I sat down and got everything set up, and then I went into the kitchen to get my water. I left my water in there. May God continue to bless you and your family on your journey in life. Thank you. I appreciate that. Really need that. Have you been here before? Is it Terry? And where you're from, Terry? You told me my dad said not to stress and it would all work out. It did. Oh, I'm so glad. And is it Carrie? Thank you so much for coming back and telling me, because people don't ever follow up with me. So I don't, you know what I mean? It's like I'm one and done. So I appreciate you telling me that. And, here's the thing. If he told you not to stress that it was going to work out, then, he told me that for a reason. But that's good validation for me, right? That I was hearing what I thought I was hearing or seeing. Sometimes I see, but most of the time I hear. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. So tonight we're talking about what are our emotions teaching us? There was definitely a reason. Well, good. I'm so glad to hear that. That makes my heart happy. Yay. So happy. So I'm just going to kind of get started. We're just going to have a chat, right? Just a conversation. Hopefully TikTok's going to cooperate tonight. Please don't be shy. Talk to me. This is what I'm here to just have a conversation. So what are our emotions telling us, right? Have you ever told yourself you're stuck? You're powerless? You're not safe? You're not worthy? Anybody ever had nobody's ever, that old story tell you that? Those emotions from maybe the past or another time in your life or another chapter, right? You're not free, right? Maybe you got that I'm not free because maybe you grew up as a child and felt like you couldn't express who you were. Carrie, yep. Maybe you couldn't express who you were, who you truly were, or your feelings about anything. And, there was a fear there. So you just put on a mask and pretended to be somebody that you weren't, right? Maybe it was that A student, the good girl, just to slide by and be under the radar, right? At Renee, yes, that would be me. Can I help you? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. How am I? I am good. I'm a little tired. I just got off of a 4-day stretch and I'm a little exhausted. You with attention deficit disorder. That's a great example. I'm glad you brought that up. Because here's the thing, right? Are those things true just because that's what our mind or our emotions tell us, right? Say you get up today and you just feel upset, right? Anybody else have those days like me? I think it was Friday or Saturday. I just woke up and I was just in one of those moods, right? I wasn't really angry. I wasn't, I just was in a mood, right? And so what happens on those days? We let it affect our entire day. From Pakistan. Okay. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee. Welcome. And tonight we're talking about what are we learning? What are our emotions teaching us about ourselves? And so here's the thing, right? Maybe our emotions from past experiences have taught us, like I said, have you ever felt I'm stuck? I'm not worthy. I'm afraid, right? And so, like I was saying, so I got up the other day and I was just in one of those moods, right? I'm Sunny from North Carolina. Well, welcome, Sunny from North Carolina. I'm glad to have you here. If you guys can tap that screen, that really does help me. Sorry, guys, I got somebody trying to co-host. I don't want to co-host tonight. And so when you wake up or you get up and something happens in the morning, which I call speed bumps, right? If you're new here, I call them speed bumps, right? We get up and maybe something happens and it kind of throws our day off, right? Or we think it throws our day off, right? And we let our emotions override the rest of our day, right? For example, one day I got up, my daughter had left a poopy diaper in the trash of my grandson's. And before I had gotten out of bed, the dog had gotten into the trash and chewed it up, and I had a sea of poopy diaper all over my kitchen floor, right? And I had a meltdown. Well, first of all, it wasn't about the poopy diaper. It was other emotions. It brought other emotions to the forefront, right? But my point is when something like that happens, that's what I call a speed bump, right? You clean it up. You go, okay, it is what it is. You calm down, you go about your day, hopefully, right? But how many of us would go about our day and be pissed off because you had to clean a poopy diaper before you went to work, or whatever it may be, whatever emotion that would cause you, upset, whatever, right? How many of us let that affect our entire day, right? Maybe somebody says something that just doesn't sit right with you in the morning when you show up to work. And so all day, maybe you're having anxiety that you why did that person say that to me? So what we're going to talk about tonight is taking a step back and learning how to not only regulate our emotion, but also learning sometimes that emotion is coming into play not from something that just happened, right? It wasn't the poopy diaper in my case, or it wasn't because somebody said something that wasn't right at work to you, right? Sometimes there's an underlying cause. For me, the poopy diaper represented I was frustrated with my husband. If you're not aware of my story, my husband checked out. Thank you. My husband checked out on me. He unalived himself 2.5 years ago. And so I was still having anger issues with him at that time. This was last summer. And I walked away from the poopy diapers, went to my bathroom, and literally had the biggest meltdown of my life. One of them, right? And there again, it had nothing to do with the poopy diaper. The poopy diaper was the trigger, right? And I was upset at my dog, but I wasn't upset with him because he just triggered something within me and what was going on in my life, right? And so here's another thing, right? So you go to work, somebody says something and you're like, well, something maybe kind of rude. And you're like, well, why would that person say that to me? And it's not, and maybe you're being triggered. Your emotions are being triggered, not from what that person said, but from a past experience. Is this making sense to anybody, or am I just talking in circles here? Will somebody raise their hand or say hey or something? Put a 5-5 in the chat if you're understanding what I'm saying. But that's the thing, right? Is that things can trigger us that have happened to us a long time ago, right? For me, you understand? Okay, good. I'm making sure I'm not talking in circles here. So here's the thing, right? We cannot let things that happen to us, whether it be right here, right now in the present, or things that happened to us maybe 30 years ago, control the rest of our life, right? Hey, Joy. I love you, girl. How you doing? Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. And so we have to take a step back and go, okay, where did that start, right? Maybe you get triggered by certain things that are said because that's something that you were told when you were a child, right? I'm doing well, Joy, just really tired, but I'm doing well. Oh, good, Veronica. I'm glad to hear that. Everybody, we need to throw up some good vibes for Veronica so she can finally pass our math GED test. She's been trying for a while, but she's doing really well because you know what? Keeps trying. And that's the whole point, Veronica. You get back up and you keep trying. So we're all proud of you. So here's the thing, right? For me, for instance, in my life, my whole childhood, I was told to be quiet. Because if you knew me, I talked a lot. If you didn't know me, I didn't talk to you at all because I was actually extremely shy. But if I did know you, I would talk a lot. And so my family would tell me just to be quiet, right? So as I went into adulthood, I just learned to be more reserved and I learned to not be who I was, right? So I was letting those emotions of my past control my future. Is that making sense? Am I still making sense, guys? All right. So when we feel that we are stuck, we are powerless, we're not safe, or you're not free to change, we have to connect the dots and go, well, first of all, where did it start that I feel stuck? Why do I feel stuck, right? What is making me feel that emotion at the moment? Connecting that emotion to whatever it is. Did I ever have braces? No, I did not. I still have an overbite. It's really bad. To the point I bite my lip a lot when I eat. But that's a whole nother topic. But thank you for asking. So learning to figure out, okay, where did that emotion come from? Right? And so connecting the dots. If you were told that you were worthless, right? You were not worthy. So then you carry this I'm not worthy into the future because somebody has said that to you. No, I figured you weren't trying to be rude. So, we take these emotions because that's what they are, right? When somebody says something to us, we become emotional. And we take that emotion and we continue it on and on and on and on. Or as I like to say, that turns into our story, right? Who we are. It becomes who we are. Does that make sense? Yeah, emotions can be dangerous. And so we have to learn to cut that and go, no, I'm not that person who was not worthy. But first, in order to do that, you have to connect the dots of why do I not feel worthy? Who at one point, yeah, you just asked a question, you're good. Who at one point in your life told you that you were not worthy or made you feel powerless, right? As a kid, if we're in a household where you are afraid to speak your mind and you felt like you had no control or no power over your life. Okay, but let me throw something at you, Veronica. You're letting what you call your attention deficit disorder, you're letting that be the barrier for you. And I understand that in a way it is a barrier, right? How do I put this? Okay, let me give you an example. I have fibromyalgia. And I could sit back and go, well, I have fibromyalgia and I don't feel good and I'm exhausted and I have brain fog and I have pain and I have all of these things that is fibromyalgia, right? Or I get up every day and I go, despite my fibromyalgia, I'm going to live my life, right? And I'm going to do it around that in order to live. So you find a way to do what you need to do around your disorder. Does that make sense? I know I'm not getting across what I'm trying to say. That's frustrating to me because sometimes there again, it's hard for me to get it from my head to my mouth. And so despite my fibro, I get up every day and I live like I don't have fibro. Okay? Yes, do I have to watch my diet, watch my sleep, kind of stay in the same patterns? But the point is I get up every day not going, I'm Renee with fibromyalgia. First, and the beginning step for that is taking the label off of yourself, right? Because you are not the attention disorder, deficit disorder. Does that make sense? I am not the fibromyalgia. But the more you tell yourself that you are that disorder or you are that disease, right? Then that becomes who we are. And that's not who we are. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, so back to it. I digress. So if you've been telling yourself your entire life that you are not enough, right? Think about this. Is it true that you're not enough? Or did somebody tell you that you weren't enough? If you were to ask yourself that question, am I enough? Is that a true statement? No, it's not a true statement. You're enough. You're worthy, just as you are. It's a long story. So that's the thing, right? You ask yourself, am I worthy? Right? Your whole life you've been telling your story, the story that you're stuck in, that I am not worthy. Because somewhere in your past, somebody made you feel like you were not worthy, right? And so now this is when we go, no, is this a true statement that I'm not worthy? No, I am worthy, right? And so learning how to step out of that emotion of I'm not worthy and going, but I am worthy, and moving past that. I used to read the Bible, but that's a whole nother topic and I'm not getting on that tonight. So all of these statements that we are always telling ourselves, right? Where did those thoughts and those emotions come from? So that's your first step, right? Is connecting those thoughts and those emotions to where did they come from? Going back, whether it was your childhood, and maybe taking a picture of yourself. And I know this sounds silly, but it really does work. And maybe somebody told you at the age of 10 that you were not worthy, right? And you go back and you take that picture of that child, or you talk to your inner child and you say, guess what? You are worthy. You are safe. You are not stuck. You are not powerless. And that's the first steps to being able to move past that, right? So they're not true, but those are the things that we continue to tell ourselves. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Does that make sense? It's like manifestation. Have you ever heard about manifestation, right? We can manifest what we want in our life, but we can also manifest what we don't want in our life by continuing to tell ourselves those old stories of, I am not worthy. I am stuck. Those are self-fulfilling prophecies that you're telling yourself. You are becoming those things and keeping yourself stuck in those things because you keep saying it, right? So when you rewire your brain, right? And so let's say I had a thing this morning and I have a meltdown for a moment, and somebody said something that hurt you and you felt that unworthiness all over again, right? And this is where you need to go. Okay, maybe have a moment. It's okay to have a moment for a moment in that, but to be able to take a step back and go, no, wait, that's the old story. That's not true. That's not a true statement at all. I am worthy, and continue on your day and not letting what somebody else said to you affect your entire day. And I hope I wasn't talking in complete circles there. But it's all about rewiring the mind. It's all of what you tell yourself and what you're believing. It really is. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. And so if we learn to just rewire our mind, start speaking differently to ourselves, then you can change that. I'm one of those people that, if something would have set me off 2-3 years ago, I would have laid in this bed or in bed all day and stewed about it. Now I might stew for 5 minutes and then I go, well, wait a minute. That's not who I am. That's not a true statement. Hi, Lisa from Tampa Bay. Welcome. How are you? And I go, you know what? That's not true at all. And I move forward. We have hatred in every group and religion. God will have the last word. Okay, that's not really relevant to what we're talking about. God is all love, by the way. Just saying. That's what Yeshua, because his name wasn't even Jesus, if we're going to be honest. I mean, people need to do a little bit of research and just understand. And this is one thing I'm going to tell you about my page. I just tell it like it is. You don't have to agree with me, and I'm not here to change anybody's mind. And we agree to disagree here, but his name wasn't even Jesus. It was Yeshua. Jay didn't even exist back then. And his true teachings was just love, to just love everybody. And yes, there is hatred all over, and we need to get out of that. I do agree with you there. Okay. That's all I got, guys. If you're not familiar and you're new to my channel, I do have a YouTube channel also that's under Scorpio Medium. If you're not a subscriber over there, I would love it if you went over there and subscribed. All the videos that you find here, you'll find uploaded over there. The only difference is you'll find my lives. I upload all my lives over there, except for sometimes mini read Wednesdays. I don't always upload those over there. But all the other videos get uploaded over there. So Scorpio Medium. I try to be here Sunday through Wednesday, guys. I'm going to be, some days I just won't be here. Work has been very stressful. So if I'm not here, I apologize, but generally I'm here Sunday through Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Wednesdays are our mini read nights. Let's see. If you would like a full reading, though, I do offer those. I offer half an hour sessions and hour sessions, and you would send me an email, which you find down in my bio below. Send me an email, and that's how I set those up. And last but not least, I do have a Venmo in my bio also. So if you enjoy my content and you would like to leave me a tip, always greatly appreciated, but never expected. So tonight is Monday, so I will be back tomorrow. It is Monday, right? Yes, because I work tomorrow. Sorry, my days are all messed up because I worked the last 4 days. So I will be back here tomorrow night if I'm not too exhausted from work, which I shouldn't be. Not sure what we're going to talk about tomorrow night. I hope you all have a great night. Thank you all so much for all the hearts and all the love. I appreciate you so very much. I hope to see you all again tomorrow night. Make tonight great. Make tomorrow great. It's a choice. Don't let those emotions control you. You are not your emotions. And have a great night until we meet again.